everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another unboxing, another offline gaming experience. This is Blossom Tales, the Sleeping King for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, this physical copy comes with the update version 1.0.2 already on cartridge, and there were no updates available since the making of this video. Now, keep in mind, this copy here is a limit run physical copy, so getting a copy will not be the easiest. Now, to go right into it, Blossom Tales is a console exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. You still can get it on PC for like Steam and so forth, but you can only get it on console-wise for the Nintendo Switch. Now, Blossom Tales is pretty much summed up, can be a Legend of Zelda clone. More specifically, like Link to the Past Legend of Zelda. It has a very simplistic graphics and sprite style. Gameplay, mechanics, and environment and story kind of pretty similar to that of Legend of Zelda. Now, the things that can really do that differs from it from Legend of Zelda is that it's being told through a story from your grandpa in the game. And certain key moments in the game, the kids can be interrupting the story and say, instead of a witch, it's a lollipop kingdom. Or you can get to choose where, instead of named pirates attacking you, you have a band of ninjas attacking you. Now, this is very subtly happens in the game, and I feel like the developers wanted to do this more, but I guess they probably ran out of problems with budget and time and resources to add more variations into the game. But you can see what they were trying to go with the idea. Now, as I said, it's strictly a Legend of Zelda clone, where you start the beginning of the game, you get chosen as a Rose Knight, you do your basic story dungeon, then you find out there's a bigger expanding story in it, and then you start gathering ingredients to wake up the king, and so on and so forth, then you defeat the evil wizard. I mean, it's pretty summary as that. You find heart pieces to increase your maximum life. You find energy pieces to increase your maximum energy. There's a lot of assortments of items, little quests here, like delivering mail and so forth. The overall experience is just Legend of Zelda. It's got some hit and miss music tracks here and there. Some of them are a little grindy, a little annoying, particularly for me, but some of them are pretty charming in their design. Graphic-wise, it is a very simple sprite graphic design, but I'm a big fan of sprite graphics, so I don't mind it too much. But I think that some designs seem a little better than other designs. It just seemed kind of conjunction between them. Like, the main character looks very simple, but you come across certain other enemies and environmental pieces that look way more detailed than your main character. I think they could have done a little bit better here. Overall, the game is alright. Out of all the games I've played and all the indies I've played, Blossom Tales feels the most indie, as it's a good game, but it has a lot of glaring flaws. And I do actually have to give a seizure warning with this game. Now, at the beginning of the game, you don't really experience this seizure warning, but when you get to like Dungeon 2, the fire dungeon, and so later on, the game has a lot of enemies and attacks that's really flashy, that covers the whole screen in like white and black and so forth. It can be very disorienting. Even with me, who has no experience of epilepsy, I've even had experienced eye irritation because of all the flashing that there was going on in the game. So please keep that in mind. As well as that the game has a tendency to enemies spawn, lots of enemies. This game became a little annoying and tedious at times too. It's just like I said, it has a lot of questionable designs, and I think the developers should have stepped back a little bit and saw that, okay, this is a little warning about the epilepsy, and seizure warning, as well as spawning enemies non-stop. As well as it has another questionable design choice. There's a guy named Stan, the traveling salesman. Now, if you've ever played it, they give no warning about this, but if you play it at a certain time of the day, you will discover that there's going to be a sign that says that we'll be back soon. Now, the game does not tell you this, but it actually follows the internal clock on your Nintendo Switch. So, I think he shows up around 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and if you're not there within that time, you can't buy any items from him. So the only way to fix this is you have to go to your internal clock and readjust it between those times. Why this was annoying is that it seemed pointless. It felt like there was no need for it. And since the game gives you no warning or any information about this, you're going to be sitting there spending so much time wondering when is he going to appear, when is it going to be a trigger event. That was a very questionable design choice in the game. Overall, like I said, it wasn't necessarily a bad game, but it didn't really wow me either. There's a lot of glaring flaws and a lot of odd development choices within it, and just as a warning to the developers about the seizure warning. I'm really serious about this because that even took me back. There's also a bit of a difficulty spike. Like, you do the first dungeon, it's pretty simple, straightforward, very feels like Legend of Zelda. But when you get to dungeon 2 and 3 and 4, the difficulty immediately ramps up insanely a lot. So they need to really adjust that. That's why I say it feels very indie, like where the developers didn't really fully understand that they had one vision and then all of a sudden they decided to change gears to another vision. So that's just my only warning. As well as the dungeon number 2, the fire dungeon, developers, I understand that fire represents red, but that's a lot of red in dungeon 2. I felt like I was in Kramer's house from Seinfeld with the red chicken sun. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put the links in the description to give you an idea of what that experience was like in dungeon number 2. Lots of red. So overall, Blossom Tales was alright. It was an amazing game. I did have maybe some expectations from it. It is a good game, though. I don't want to necessarily say it's a bad game, but I think they could have done better. Is that there's a lot of glaring flaws, a lot of questionable development choices, but overall, I completed it, I had fun with it, and I'm just saying, hopefully that maybe in their next game they can learn from this one and do better, because they show promise with this. This has potential. Just next time, not try to be so much as a Legend of Zelda clone, and try to add your own little twist to it. I really like the storytelling concept. Try to utilize that more. Allow me to pick more choices, like with the little kids, to change the variations of the game. Even like change the main villain or change the environments of the entire level. Change specific abilities, because like instead of like the power of fire, the little girl says, no, you have the power of ice. That could really change and make it more interesting to come back into a second playthrough. So, in my personal opinion, I say look into it. I mean, I'd say probably get it on Steam or PC first at a sale and see how it is before you spend big booker bucks to get a physical copy of it. Unless you're a complete collector for your Switch, then, I mean, it doesn't matter what I say. So, like always, I try to leave links in the description if you're into copy. I say look into it, maybe get it on Steam first to get your full experience first through there. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in my next unboxing video. Bye-bye!